Your morning cup of tea isn't what you think it is. That comforting brew you're drinking right now might contain plastic, pesticides, and chemicals that have no business being anywhere near your body. Today, we expose the 7 tea brands UK consumers must avoid at all costs. Because the tea industry has become a minefield of contamination, deceptive labeling, and corporate shortcuts that put profit before safety. We investigated every major tea brand in the UK, analysing their ingredients, sourcing practices, pesticide residues, and the plastic hidden in their tea bags. And what we found is disturbing, from microplastics releasing into every cup to pesticide cocktails that regulators conveniently ignore, from fake organic certifications to supply chains built on exploitation. These 7 brands represent everything wrong with modern tea production. Number 1. Tetley, Britain's plastic problem in a bag. Let's start with one of Britain's most trusted names. Tetley, the brand your grandmother probably drank. The one with cheerful packaging and the promise of a proper British cuppa. Here's what they don't tell you. Most Tetley tea bags contain plastic. Not just the outer wrapper, the actual tea bag itself. Tetley uses polypropylene to seal their tea bags. This is the same plastic used in food containers and bottle caps. Every time you pour boiling water over a Tetley tea bag, you're releasing billions of microplastic particles into your drink. A study from McGill University found that a single plastic tea bag releases approximately 11 billion microplastic particles and 3 billion nanoplastic particles into your cup. 11 billion from one tea bag. These microplastics don't just pass through your system harmlessly, they accumulate in your organs. They've been found in human blood, lungs, and even placentas. Scientists are still studying the long-term effects, but early research links microplastic exposure to inflammation, hormonal disruption, and potential cancer risks. But the plastic isn't even the worst part. Look at what's actually inside those bags. Tetley uses what's called tea dust, or fannings. These aren't whole tea leaves, they're the broken fragments left over after quality tea has been processed and sold to premium brands. Tea dust has significantly less flavour than whole leaves, so manufacturers compensate by adding natural flavouring. But natural flavouring isn't what you think. It's a laboratory-created compound designed to mimic the taste of real tea. Tetley also sources their tea from massive industrial plantations where pesticide use is rampant. Tea plants absorb pesticides readily, and these chemicals end up in your cup. Tests have found residues of chemicals like endosulfan, quinalphos, and monocrotophos in Tetley tea. These pesticides are linked to neurological damage, reproductive issues, and cancer. The company will tell you the levels are within legal limits, and they are. But legal doesn't mean safe. It just means they won't be prosecuted for slowly poisoning you. Here's something else most people don't realise. The tea sits in warehouses for months before it reaches your kitchen. During this time, it oxidizes, loses flavour, and degrades. Fresh tea should be consumed within months of harvest. Tetley tea is often 6 months to a year old by the time you brew it. You're drinking stale, lifeless tea that's been chemically enhanced to taste acceptable. Number 2. PG Tips, the pyramid scheme. PG Tips markets itself as the people's tea. Affordable, reliable, British. Their pyramid bags look fancy and modern. They promise better flavour through room for the leaves to move. It's all marketing nonsense. Those pyramid bags, also plastic. PG Tips uses a petroleum-based mesh to create its pyramid shape. When hot water hits that bag, you're not just brewing tea, you're brewing a toxic soup of microplastics and chemical leaching. But here's what really bothers me about PG Tips. They claim to use the top 2 leaves and a bud from each tea plant. This is supposed to signify quality, except they're sourcing from such massive industrialized operations that this claim is essentially meaningless. PG Tips buys tea from plantations in Kenya, India, and Sri Lanka, where workers are paid poverty wages, exposed to dangerous pesticides without protective equipment, and forced to meet impossible quotas. The human cost of your cheap tea is someone else's suffering. And the tea itself? It's heavily processed and blended to create consistency across millions of bags. Real tea should vary slightly from batch to batch because it's an agricultural product influenced by weather, soil, and season. PG Tips tastes exactly the same every single time because it's engineered in a factory, not grown on a farm. The pyramid bags also contain more tea dust and fannings than whole leaves. The pyramid shape is designed to make you think you're getting better quality, but you're not. You're getting the same low-grade tea as every other mass-market brand, just in a fancier-looking bag. PG Tips also uses artificial flavouring in many of its specialty ranges. Their fruit-flavoured teas don't contain real fruit. They contain synthetic compounds created to taste like fruit. Your strawberry tea has never been anywhere near an actual strawberry. The company has faced multiple controversies over pesticide residues. In 2014, tests found 17 different pesticides in PG Tips tea, including 2 that are banned in the EU. The levels were technically legal, but the sheer number of different chemicals is alarming. When you drink PG Tips, you're consuming a cocktail of pesticides, microplastics, and artificial flavouring. That's not tea, that's a chemistry experiment. Number 3. Twinings every day. When heritage meets deception. Twinings has a reputation for quality. They've been around since 1706. They supply tea to the royal family. They must be trustworthy, right? Wrong, at least when it comes to their everyday range. Twinings. Everyday is their budget line designed to compete with Tetley and PG Tips. And to keep costs down, they've sacrificed everything that made Twinings worth buying. The tea in everyday bags is sourced from the cheapest possible suppliers. These are massive industrial operations where quality control is minimal and pesticide use is extensive. Tests have found residues of over 30 different pesticides in various Twinings products. 30 different pesticides in a single cup of tea. These include chemicals like cypermethrin, chlorpyrifos, and imidacloprid. Cypermethrin is a nerve agent that affects the nervous system. Chlorpyrifos is linked to developmental delays in children. Imidacloprid is so toxic to bees that it's been banned in several countries. But Twinings continues to use tea contaminated with these substances because the levels technically comply with UK regulations. Never mind that you're drinking multiple pesticides simultaneously, and nobody has studied the combined effect of consuming 30 different chemicals together. Twinings. Everyday bags also contain plastic. The company has promised to switch to plant-based materials, but as of now, millions of their bags still release microplastics into your tea. Here's something else. The tea is stale. Mass-market tea sits in warehouses for months, sometimes years before it reaches your kitchen. Tea oxidizes over time, losing flavor and beneficial compounds. By the time you brew it, you're drinking something that's barely recognizable as tea. To compensate for the staleness, Twinings adds natural flavoring. This is code for synthetic compounds created in laboratories. Your Earl Grey doesn't taste like bergamot because it contains real bergamot oil. It tastes like bergamot because it contains a chemical designed to mimic it. The worst part? Twinings charges a premium for its everyday range compared to store brands. You're paying for the Twinings name and getting tea that's no better than the cheapest supermarket option. Number 4. Yorkshire Tea, the brand that betrayed Britain. This one will upset people. Yorkshire Tea has a cult following. People are fiercely loyal to it. They'll defend it online, insist it's the best tea in Britain, and refuse to drink anything else. But Yorkshire Tea has been lying to you. They market themselves as a proper Yorkshire company, traditional and trustworthy. Except Yorkshire Tea isn't made in Yorkshire. It's owned by Betty's and Taylor's Group. And while they're based in Yorkshire, the tea is sourced from the same massive international plantations as every other mass-market brand. There's nothing particularly Yorkshire about it, except the marketing. Yorkshire Tea also uses tea bags that contain plastic. Despite pressure to switch to biodegradable materials, they've been slow to change. As of now, many of their bags still leach microplastics into your drink. But here's what really concerns me about Yorkshire tea. They've been caught up in multiple controversies regarding their supply chain. In 2020, reports emerged about labour abuses on plantations that supply Yorkshire tea. Workers, including children, were being paid below minimum wage and exposed to dangerous pesticides. Yorkshire Tea's response was to promise to investigate and improve conditions. But these promises are largely meaningless when your business model depends on buying the cheapest possible tea from massive operations with minimal oversight. The tea itself is a blend of leaves from Assam, Kenya, and Sri Lanka. Sounds exotic, but in practice this means Yorkshire Tea is buying surplus tea that other companies don't want, blending it together and selling it as a premium product. The blend is also heavily manipulated to maintain consistency. Real tea should taste slightly different depending on the harvest season and growing conditions. Yorkshire tea tastes identical year-round because it's processed and blended to eliminate natural variation. Yorkshire Tea's specialty ranges are even worse. Their biscuit brew doesn't contain any biscuits. It contains artificial flavouring designed to taste like biscuits. You're drinking chemicals that trick your brain into thinking you're eating food you're not eating. Their decaf range is processed using chemical solvents. While the final product is technically solvent-free, residues remain. You're drinking tea that's been bathed in industrial chemicals to remove the caffeine. Number 5. Sainsbury's Red Label, supermarket bottom barrel. Supermarket own brand tea is always questionable, but Sainsbury's Red Label is particularly problematic. This tea is sourced from the absolute bottom of the barrel. Sainsbury's contracts with the cheapest suppliers they can find, often buying tea that's been rejected by other companies for quality issues. The result is a product that barely qualifies as tea. It's mostly dust, stems, and broken leaves. When you open a bag, you can see how fine and powdery the contents are. This isn't a sign of quality, it's a sign of industrial processing taken to the extreme. Sainsbury's Red Label also contains significantly higher levels of fluoride than other teas. Tea plants naturally absorb fluoride from soil, but cheap tea uses older, lower quality leaves that contain much more fluoride than young, tender leaves. Excessive fluoride consumption is linked to dental fluorosis, skeletal problems, and potential neurological effects. One study found that drinking cheap supermarket tea could expose you to fluoride levels approaching the safe daily limit. The tea bags themselves are made with bleach paper and polypropylene sealant. The bleaching process uses chlorine, which can leave behind dioxin residues. Dioxins are highly toxic compounds linked to cancer, reproductive problems, and immune system damage. Every time you brew a cup of Sainsbury's Red Label, you're potentially exposing yourself to dioxins. Sainsbury's also provides no transparency about their supply chain. You have no idea where your tea was grown, how it was processed, or what pesticides were used. They simply don't care enough to tell you. The tea is packaged months before it reaches shelves. By the time you buy it, it's already stale and oxidized. The flavour is flat and bitter, lacking any of the complexity or brightness of fresh tea. Number 6. Asda Extra Special Gold. Fool's Gold in a box. The name Extra Special Gold suggests premium quality. The gold packaging reinforces this impression. The price is slightly higher than standard Asda tea, making you think you're buying something better. You're not. Asda Extra Special Gold is a masterclass in deceptive marketing. The tea inside is virtually identical to their standard range. Same sources, same processing, same low quality. The only difference is the packaging and the price. Tests have shown that Asda tea contains some of the highest pesticide residues of any UK supermarket brand. Multiple pesticides have been found in levels that, while technically legal, should concern anyone who drinks this tea regularly. The tea bags use plastic sealant that releases microplastics when exposed to boiling water. Asda has made no commitment to switch to plastic-free alternatives, presumably because it would cut into profit margins. But here's the most disturbing thing about Asda Extra Special Gold. The tea is often sourced from plantations with documented human rights abuses. Workers are paid poverty wages, forced to work in dangerous conditions, and denied basic labour rights. When you buy Asda tea, you're supporting a system that exploits vulnerable people in developing countries. The tea itself is bland and flavourless. It requires multiple bags to brew anything resembling a strong cup. This is intentional. By making weak tea, Asda ensures you use more bags, which means you buy more boxes. The gold blend claim is meaningless. There's no regulatory definition for what constitutes a gold blend. It's pure marketing language designed to make you think you're getting something special. Number 7. Lipton Yellow Label, the global giant's toxic legacy. And here we are. Lipton Yellow Label. Lipton is owned by Unilever, one of the largest corporations in the world. They have the resources to source quality tea, ensure ethical practices, and create a genuinely good product. Instead, they've chosen to maximize profits at every possible opportunity. Lipton Yellow Label uses the lowest quality tea available on the global market. This is tea that consists almost entirely of dust and fannings. There are virtually no whole leaves. What you're getting is the sweepings from the processing floor, packaged and sold as tea. The tea is sourced from massive industrial plantations where pesticide use is astronomical. Tests have consistently found Lipton tea to contain some of the highest pesticide residues of any brand sold in the UK. In 2014, Greenpeace tested Lipton tea and found residues of 34 different pesticides, including several that are banned in the EU. 34 different pesticides. Some of these are known carcinogens. Others are endocrine disruptors that interfere with hormone function. Unilever's response was to promise to improve its practices. Years later, tests still find dangerous pesticide residues in Lipton tea. Their promises were empty. Lipton tea bags contain plastic mesh that releases massive amounts of microplastics into your drink. The pyramid bags look premium, but they're actually worse than standard bags because they contain more plastic. Lipton also engages in deceptive marketing. They claim to be a sustainable, ethical company. They plaster their packaging with feel-good messages about supporting farmers and protecting the environment. It's all lies. Multiple investigations have revealed labour abuses on plantations that supply Lipton. Workers are paid below minimum wage, denied basic safety equipment, and exposed to toxic pesticides without protection. When you buy Lipton Yellow Label, you're directly supporting a system of exploitation. Your tea is built on human suffering. The tea itself tastes terrible. It's bitter, flat, and lifeless. There's no complexity, no aroma, no character. It's just brown water with a vaguely tea-like flavour. Lipton compensates for this by adding natural flavouring to many of their specialty ranges. These aren't natural at all. They're synthetic compounds created in laboratories. The packaging is deliberately misleading. Images of lush tea plantations and happy workers create an impression of quality and ethics. The reality is mechanized industrial operations where tea is treated as a commodity, not a craft. So there you have it. The 7 worst tea brands in the UK. From Tetley's plastic microplastics to Lipton's 34 pesticides, these brands have been deceiving consumers for years. Now you know the truth. If this investigation shocked you, hit that subscribe button and smash the like button so more people can see what's really in their tea. Drop a comment below and let us know which brand you've been drinking and whether you'll be switching. Thanks for watching.